Hot, hot. Oh, we hot, Chris? We hot? Let's see.
Sir, yes, sir.
Mic check, mic check.
Yo. Mi destino, ando de vago con el vino. Hablando como hombre, pero me porto como niño.
Drop that beat. Oh, you hit the wrong beat, Chris. Chris, that's it. You out of here, baby.
You fired.
All right, people, you guys know what it is. It's the one and the only, the American Cholo podcast, and I got my co-host Boo Boo Bear in the house.
What's up, people?
There you go. Get that mix right. Now, before I introduce my next guest, this is a special guest. Before I get on him, I wanna first, I wanna pay some bills, man. I wanna give a shout out to our sponsors, Suavecito Pomade. You know them. They're in every barbershop from here to Nantucket. Carnalismo Clothing, another one of our sponsors. Also, a new sponsor we got is a realtor, Alexis Ubida. And of course, the homie Kevin from Pescal Pest Control. I want to thank all you guys. And also the members, man. We're almost at 100 members. That helps the platform keep the lights on, man. Give you this great content with high quality stuff. Aside from that, let's introduce you to the man of the hour. He is one of the iconic legend Chicano rappers from way back when. Is still in the game, doing his thing, doing a podcast, doing the clothing. I don't know how the guy has enough energy to do what he does. For the one and the only San Diego, stand the fuck up, Mr. Lil One.
Hey, yo. Thank you for having me, broski.
Yeah,
What's going on, player?
Right.
Oh man, I'm just
Chris,
chilling.
Let's move that one over a little bit right there, because he's a little bit that way. So, ¿qué onda, cabrón?
I'm just happy to be here, bro.
Shit.
I'm happy to be here, dog.
You could have moved it with it on, Chris. That's the beauty of live TV. No, yeah. That's the beauty of live TV. That way they know we're live. We get that little thing smaller for Boo Boo so it doesn't cover, even though we're trying to get rid of Boo Boo. Hit that wire here. We got all kind of stuff, Chris. We've been here for about 2 hours. We've been here for 2 hours waiting for you.
Hey, traffic. You can't. There's nothing you can do about the traffic, dog.
Yeah. So, for people, thank you for coming. First of all, I know you have to drive a ways out and all that good
It's
stuff.
all good, bro. It's nothing.
But you canceled on me twice, Little One.
No, I didn't.
You fucking canceled. That's what people don't know.
Yeah. Look, before you start with the mental,
I gotta start.
Before you start with the mental terrorism, okay, dog.
Is that what we call it now?
Okay, dog. Dog. We have kids. We have schedules, things change.
I saw him at a party, fool.
No, I don't even go to parties, so that's a partial truth telling going on right here, dog.
He was on TMZ. Fool. At the strip club. At the strip club.
So let me publicly apologize for having to reschedule with you. I'm glad to be here. Can the mental terrorism stop?
Almost.
Okay, almost. Keep going. Go.
So he hits me up and I said, oh, no, here we go. Because he hit me up today early when he was talking about traffic. He's like, hey, Gil, and I heard that. I said, no. I said, this motherfucker flex, we're going to have a war. I'm going to go on live talking about, fuck this, vato. I'm going to do one of those, you can't come to my city and rap.
Ever. You got to check in if you get on the 5. As soon as you get on the past San Clemente, you got to check in.
All right, so, you know what, homie? I completely understand. People get very busy in its life, but I definitely appreciate you and your homie taking the time to drive out here. It's a long drive, man, and you're blessing our platform.
Man, I appreciate you, man. I love what you do, bro. I'm a big fan, bro. I'm glad to be here. Don't matter the time doesn't matter, Just wanted to make sure and get here.
That's right. Hey, Chris, turn that background music down a little bit, please. Actually, if you could turn it off. Now, I want to talk to Mr. Little One on this one, man. So let's just get right into this, carnal. Where were you born and raised at, homeboy?
I was born in Mexico City.
Mexico City, huh?
Yeah. I came to the States when I was 3 months old.
Did they hide you underneath the seat, or?
Yeah, at first, and then and then it fixed itself in time.
That's usually, hopefully, how it works. There's a lot of brothers that didn't work that way, and they send you back.
Yeah. And I grew up in Southeast San Diego. That's where I was raised. So I really didn't go back the other side, but I ended up going and I met my pops later down the road, and I visited Playa del Carmen and Chichen Itza, and I went to Tulum and experienced the pyramids and all of that, but I was raised in Southeast San Diego.
So talk to me about San Diego, man. Talk to me from somebody who's been there as long as you've been there. What is San Diego like? The beauties and the ugliness.
Well, I mean, it's a border town. You know what I'm saying? It's a border town, so it has, it has, like everywhere else. You can go anywhere and you're gonna find shit anywhere you go. You can find shit in Maui. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But San Diego is a beautiful place. I mean, a lot of people go tourists visit San Diego a lot.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
You know what I mean? So it's a border town, but I mean, there's the 2 hours this way is the mountains. Yeah. The beaches are there. It's a cool place to grow up in.
Yeah, that's right. But when you were out there and you were a kid, it was a pretty dangerous spot, though.
Oh yeah, I mean the cities that are close to the border, maybe 30, 40 minutes in from the border to 40 minutes in, it's all gang culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's where we migrate, and that's where the lower income were. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we all grew up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the gangs is like blocks away from each other. Yeah. But aside from that, because of the traditional,
of course,
but it's a beautiful place to grow up in. You know what I mean? Like I always talk about, and people trip out when I talk about like the power of the present moment, right?
Yeah.
And I'll talk to like a homie, and he's been in prison all his life.
Yeah.
And I'll tell him, hey, how much you want to bet I can name a time right now that you were in the present moment? He's like, nah, what are you talking about? I'm like, when you were playing marbles. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh shit. Like, what else were you thinking about when you were playing marbles? He's like, nothing. I go, that's the present moment. Yeah. What were you thinking about when the paletero fucking little song came on? That's it. I go, that's the present moment. What about when you were hitting a piñata? Mm-hmm. That's the present moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, look, dog, it doesn't matter where you're at. There was gang shit everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
but it's a beautiful place to grow up. The culture's beautiful. The people are beautiful.
That's right.
San Diego's beautiful.
That's right. Nothing but love. And so I wanted to know, because everybody just said, if you know, you know. Well, I don't know. Where did Mr. Little One get his name?
Okay, so that's a crazy story. So this is the traditional way that it grew up in my neighborhood. When you graduated the 6th grade, you had 3 months off.
Yes.
And then you went to junior high.
Yeah.
They used to bus us out because there's no junior highs in Southeast San Diego.
Okay.
There's no, now there's only like 2.
Yeah.
But back then there was no junior high schools. There was only 2 high schools.
Okay.
Right? So during that summer, You clip your hair. You get down to the blade one.
Yep.
You go to the swap meet. You start wearing the Dickies.
Yeah.
You get jumped into the neighborhood.
Put on your Cortez.
Yeah, you get a nickname, and when you go to school,
You're different.
you're from the neighborhood now. You're from the neighborhood now. You know, you represent. So I grew up in Sherman. That's what my neighborhood. You know.
Okay.
So when you go to junior high, that's where you grow up.
Okay.
That's what you are now, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's the way that it really arose.
That was your transition.
That was the transition, dog.
Yeah.
You know, you get jumped into the neighborhood during the summer. You shave your head during your summer. You might get a small tat during the
little
summer.
3 dots.
You know, and then you learn the you know.
Is it the click? Yeah.
You know the game. You know.
You start learning.
Now you guys all know we all come from the same cloth.
Yep.
What leadership looks like at that time.
Yes.
You know, in those days, the goal was to end up in the pit.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
The
yes.
goal was to end up in juvenile hall, then go to a camp, then hit YA, then go to the pen, and hopefully get out of the shoe program, and then you're cool.
Yeah. And then you made it, right?
And then you made it.
Yep.
You know, that was the leadership.
Yes, it was.
You know what I'm saying? When I remember, dog, by the time I was
That was our
15,
education.
the goal was to learn how to load up a M1
Yeah.
Jesus.
with a banana clip.
Yeah.
So now just imagine this. There's a 30-year-old man teaching a 15-year-old
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
how to load up a M1.
With that rag, trying to put it in there.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, but that's the world we live in,
Yep.
and a lot of people don't see that, and they think these are just horrible people, and no, this is what we were taught.
That's it, bro.
Exactly.
That's part of the culture. You know, but on the flip side of that coin, because that's what we're focusing on right now,
Yeah.
there was a lot of beautiful things too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was a lot of beautiful things. Like I said, the marbles, the paletero, the soccer games, the baseball games,
Yep.
the little plazas they would put
We used to
on.
play football against each other.
Yeah, dog. You know, and even there was a time where the other neighborhoods would come and we would have games against each other.
Yeah, that was before
you
that
know,
shit got serious.
Yeah, before it got serious. You
Yep.
know, even the breakdancing. You know what I'm saying? We would breakdance against each other, and that's how I got into the music. You know?
So let's get into that, man. So were you a popper or what were you?
Yeah, I was dog. Don't make me fucking show
Oh,
you. How
you don't
want to
do that,
bro.
fool. Now
You know what I'm saying?
my shoulder will pop
Yeah,
out.
you're
Ah, shit.
Damn it.
So then after 6th grade, your nickname to hit you up, you're Mr. Little
Okay,
One.
so yeah, my bad. So they give you a nickname,
Yeah.
right? So there was me and my other homie, Rascal, right?
Okay.
So it was like, you're Rascal, he said. I was gonna be Champ.
Campeón, you're
I was
doing
gonna
it,
be
dude.
Champ.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So I would, instead of and they call him Little One, it would have been we are the champion. Right? So he was like, and you're Little One. I was like, Little One, right? So later I learned the Smiley from Sherman, that's the homie.
Yeah.
He got that name when he was doing community service, right?
Yeah.
And he said that he was like in back of some grass and it said Little One Chula Vista, right?
Okay.
Peep out. About 2 weeks ago, I get a DM from Little One from Chula Vista's nephew.
Yeah.
He's telling me, hey, my uncle was OG Little One from Chula Vista.
Okay.
And he was a follower of your music. And remember, he passed away.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, he was doing service for the church and for the Victory Outreach. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm sorry to hear that. He asked me if I could do a video for the family, right? But it's crazy that the name came from him and he probably never knew that.
Wow, yeah.
Exactly.
I never got the chance to
to
tell him that. You know what I'm saying?
And that probably made him like your music that much more.
But I told him.
Yeah.
I told the nephew.
nephew.
I
That's
told him,
right.
hey, look,
Yeah,
let me
that's
tell you the
right.
story, you know. So they were all happy, you know.
So how did you go from joining the hood and then eventually start transitioning to the music, or was music always a part of your life?
Yeah, the music was always part, I mean, because you're born with it. You know, in my opinion,
Yeah.
you're born with that shit.
It's a talent,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it was like music didn't have color, age.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was just music.
Universal.
You know, yeah. So, you know, growing up, like movies like Grease, you know what I'm saying? The music was popping. You know what I'm saying? Like the music, you see everybody dancing. My mom always played.
Chill.
I got chills, you know what I'm saying? Hopelessly devoted to you, you know what I'm saying? All of that. But I mean, you know, it was the rhythm. It was the rhythm and the melodies that grabbed you.
Yes.
You know, and my mom always played music. I had two older brothers, so they were bumping the old school shit. You know what I mean? And you know, my older brother was like bumping Curtis Blow and Run DMC and the Beastie Boys and LL Cool J. So, you know, I got a thesaurus, dog, when I was in elementary. and I started performing at the talent shows. So I would always win, so they didn't let me perform at the talent shows no more. So I was learning like the metaphors, you know what I mean? Like instead of saying shit like I'm wanted by the police and I'm tired, it'd be like I'm a fugitive on the run and I'm exhausted. You know what I mean? So then you think you're smart and shit. Then everybody likes you. Then you actually become smart. You know, it wasn't cool to be smart back then. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta fake it till
the
you make
dumber you were, the cooler you were.
Isn't that true though?
That's insane. Yeah, it's true though.
It's true. If you're doing your homework back then, you're a fucking nerd. You're
a fucking nerd. Yep. You know, you're stupid.
But now all those nerds are the bosses of these fucking.
Exactly. That's what I say. All these corporate buildings are owned by those nerds, and the bullies are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
pushing the broom. If they're lucky.
Yep.
If they're lucky. All right, so you pretty much had music all the time in your soul and everything. But where does Mr. Little One, the Cholo, become Mr. Little One, the rapper?
So I would always write. You know, I would.
At what age?
Young. Then that summer.
Yeah.
Okay. There's actually songs on YouTube when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
Doing neighborhood raps.
Now, what year was this, roughly?
This was 89, maybe.
Oh, wow, okay.
So you were doing neighborhood raps.
Yeah.
So crazy story.
Yeah.
Genius of Love, instrumental, right?
Yeah.
Every neighborhood's got a local DJ, right?
Of course.
Every neighborhood's got big homies, right?
Yeah.
So the big homies will go knock on the door and tell my mom, hey, we're going to bring him right back, right? So they grab me, and then I go to the DJ, and I'll be like, all you party people don't know who I am. My name is Little One from the Sherman Gang. This is Little One on the microphone. I'm going to jam to the beat. I'm going to give you some. So Doug. There's that 12 years old.
Yeah.
So now I was at every quinceañera. I was at every fucking backyard boogie, dog. The big homies go knock on the door. We'll be right back. I be in fucking every neighborhood, dog, you know, doing the neighborhood raps. You know what I mean? So by the time I went to the junior high, I was famous already, dog. Dog, I'd be asleep, and I hear the cars go by, dog. My older brothers were jealous, dog, because all the girls would come. They'd be like, hey, there he is. And they would, you know. But that's how it started, dog. And you know who was doing the same thing at the time, but he was like, you know, 15 years old. There was Night Out.
Right. Okay. And we'll get to Night Out in a little bit.
Yeah, you know, but so every neighborhood had a neighborhood rapper.
Yes.
Right.
Shelltown had Bully D, rest in peace. Wobtown had Night Owl, rest in peace. You know, Logan had Nano, rest in peace. And they had me, but I was a little kid.
Now, were you also getting hate? Because the homies be hating too, man, because you're getting all that attention.
Not at that time.
No, not
yet. We'll get to that.
You were too young at that
I
time.
was too young to pull the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You weren't a threat yet.
I wasn't a threat yet. You know what I'm saying? I was just a kid.
Yeah.
But eventually it got to that. But dog, like, you know, the musical aspect of it was beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. How were the other neighborhoods taking to your stuff? Because back then, were you guys really beefing that hard, or were you getting along with some of them?
You know what? It wasn't bad at that time. Actually, there was a neighborhood, Shelltown and Sherman, that were actually united. So Bully D, which was older than me, like he taught me how to like rap with my chest, how to make beats. So he'd be like, go like this, and he'd go like,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
So then I'd be in the streets and I'd be like, and I'd start spitting, right?
Yeah.
So you know there was no beef like that then. As the time went on, then shit got ugly.
Everything started getting more violent. So then, by the time you're like, let's say 17, 18, how's your career going? Or when did you start really saying, you know what, I'm going to really devote my life to this?
Okay, so when I was 18 years old, I was slanging dope at the time. My mom had just passed away. I had a little girl at that time. I was 17. Father. I was 17 when she was born. And so I was slanging dope. I ended up in Night Owl's neighborhood selling some dope to some of his homies.
Yeah.
I run into him. He's like, hey, we should go to the studio one day. I'm like, man, let's go whenever.
Yeah.
So one day I go link up with him and we go to the studio. You know, we didn't really vibe that well. You know what I'm saying? Because he was like set in his ways because he was a little older.
Yeah.
And I was young, but I had a lot of talent. So I knew what I was doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we recorded a project, Hollow Point, right?
Okay.
At that time. So we did a few songs. So that did its thing in San Diego. It was floating around San Diego. At that time, he was signed to Familia Records. So he had his first album through Familia Records. So he linked me up with Murray Brumfield from Familia Records. When the Hollow Point thing when it did its thing, I went my own way. And that's when I recorded Once in a Decade. Okay. So when I recorded Once in a Decade, me and Murray linked up. Yeah. And that's when Mr. Little One was born. And that's Once in a Decade.
And how many records did you push out in the 90s?
A lot. I can't even count. A lot. You know, maybe from 96, in the 10-year span, there was probably like, I don't know, 30 records.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 15 of them were albums. And the other ones were like compilations with other artists from San Diego. Yeah. But there was you got to remember the climate was completely different. Yes. You made a lot of money in those days. Anything that we pressed sold 30, 40,000 copies in a 5-month span.
That's right.
You know, not including what was going on at the Warehouse and at Sam Goody's. So we would go press up. It's funny because we passed by there. Yeah. There was a place called QBT in Pasadena. And we used to go press up 5,000 of everything on the first batch. Yeah. So we would go pick it up. By the time we got back to San Diego, they were all gone.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, $5 a pop, $6 a pop, and then you reorder. So the climate was different. So we were actually able to make a living comfortably really young.
It was same strategy as a dope game, but with much better reward. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Exact same strategy. Yeah. Except the boxes had CDs.
and ain't nobody trying to kill you for
ain't
your
nobody,
CD.
well, you know what?
Well, we haven't got So throughout this whole time of you performing and you being a rapper, who was that one person that was your biggest mentor in this whole game?
Yeah. Mentor.
Or was there one? Was there any? Or nobody really?
I would say we all became our own mentors, dog. You know, there wasn't really a guy. You got to remember, in our culture, there's a lot of machismo too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there are times that when, like Broski was saying, when you start becoming a threat, people don't. The dynamic of your relationship changes. Thank you.
Yes, it does.
It changes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because the music was actually good.
Yeah.
And the music was actually selling. Now let me make something clear. Just because somebody doesn't sell doesn't mean the music isn't good.
Yeah.
Especially in this climate.
Yes.
Now we're congested in an ocean of music where there's billions of people trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Back then it wasn't like that. So if you were good, you actually stood out. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So there was a lot of competition. There was a lot of egos. And there was a lot of machismo, you know, and it depends on what you look like and, you know, what kind of drive you had and what kind of magnet you had. If you had more than the next guy that happened to be an artist like you, then there was a barrier.
Yeah. And I think it's still the same way to today, man. People are still kinda,
unfortunately, yes.
Right?
Yeah, you still got your
But I'll tell you what. Me and Shadow were close from the very beginning. You know, me and Shadow were from the very, very beginning. We were like Redman and Method Man, like Daz and Corrupt. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everywhere we went, like peanut butter and jelly.
When did you guys meet and where did you guys meet?
I met Shadow through Night Owl when he was like 15 years old.
Okay.
So I was just a couple years older than him, and you know, he was recording Till I Die. Once in a Decade had just came out. And it just became a brotherhood, even with Night Owl. But again, he was a little bit older, so the dynamic of our relationship was a little different. But we're all brothers.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and then I introduced Little Rob to Shadow. Okay. And then they did some songs on Shadow's first album. Yeah. And, you know, actually the day I introduced him, I went to jail. we were at the park drinking. I had just got out of county over some bullshit. Then they had city jail back then.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have some outstanding tickets. I'm like, dude, I just got out of the damn well, now you're going to the city jail.
Yeah.
So during that process, Little Rob and Shadow got together and went to the studio and did their thing. And when I got out of jail, Shadow went and picked me up. You know what I'm saying? It was him and his moms picked me up.
Yeah.
And then, you know, everyone was there. Rob was there. Shadow was here. I was here. And Night Owl was there. And then, you know, as time went on, things changed.
Life happens and stuff going on. So did you? I know you spoke a little bit about it right now, but did you actually start getting a lot of hate from your own homies?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, half were supporters. And Royalty was there too.
Oh, don't bring up Royalty.
Shout out to Royal.
He's gonna call us right now. Royal.
and
he's gonna be talking shit. Why did you bring me up?
Like I said nothing. And so half the neighborhood support you.
Yeah.
The other half didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, it's because you become a threat. Yep. Now you got a nicer car. Now you got nicer clothes.
You now you're all that. Now you're all that.
Yeah. Now you think you're all that.
You're all bad.
You know. Now they're. You know. It was crazy. I'd be like, dude, we know each other. We were little kids. What the fuck you talking about? Wow. Who do you think you are? Like, I'm me.
Nobody.
What do you want me to be, a bum?
Yeah, exactly.
You want me to pull a? You'd be happier if I was carrying a cart somewhere. You fucking fuckhead. You know what I'm saying?
So was that the biggest complaint they had? You think you're all that kind of?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, bro, you know how it is. You get a job at a bank, you think you're bad. You get a better car. I remember when I moved. You move into a better place. You went to a better neighborhood.
Progressing in life, boy.
You're a sellout.
Oh
yeah. You're a sellout. You left the neighborhood. How come you don't come to the neighborhood? Dog, just the other day, for the first time, I'm not gonna say no names.
Yeah.
I don't even go out, bro. But the other day I went to the Zap concert. So I'm there. I run into some of the homies. You know what I mean? Yeah. Fuck. One of them tells me, "Why don't you come around?"
Oh, geez.
And I say, "Come around where?"
Yeah.
He says, "Come around me." I said, "I'm around you right now. What do you want? Come around you for what?
Yeah.
I'm around you right now." He didn't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
it's because he didn't know how to communicate. He wanted to say, "I miss you, man."
You know, but it started like hostile.
Yeah.
And I'm like calm.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you think? Like, what are you angry about?
Because you made it.
Like, what the fuck are you mad about?
I think some people are angry because their lives didn't turn out the way yours may have, but they also don't see the struggle.
Well, bro. Before we get to the struggle, that's not our fault.
Exactly.
That's nobody's fault. Even if you meet someone and you get in a relationship with someone, the trauma that they may bring or the trauma that we may bring is not their fault.
Yeah.
It's okay. On the music element, right? I've gotten DMs from dudes that I did music with. I will get to Diggy right now too.
Yeah.
Dog, remember this song? And I'm like, no. You remember we did this, and because of that, I'm like, okay, so if that happened between us, you've had 15 fucking years to make a career. So what happened?
Let's figure it out. They couldn't figure it out.
Can't figure it out.
Yep.
We got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all have to figure it out. It's our job to figure it out.
Yep.
Now, here's where intelligence comes in, okay? Just because you're awake and alert doesn't fucking mean you're conscious. There's a difference between being conscious and being alert. Yeah. Being alert's no different than a dog.
Yeah.
You learn how to survive. When you're conscious, you learn how to self-expand. Right?
Yes.
So our job as human beings is to self-expand, especially when we become parents, because they didn't ask us to come here.
Yeah.
Right? So how is someone going to knock you for doing what you got to do, enjoying your purpose, to raise your children?
Yeah.
What is that? That says more about the person than anything, dog.
Yeah.
Yes, sir,
Exactly.
man. Jesus.
That's just real shit.
That's real shit.
Keep that's real shit. Remember, what we grew up believing was keep it real is not keeping it real.
No, it wasn't. It was
It was bullshit.
it was bull. Yeah, it was bullshit. You can't fucking cuss here.
Oh, my bad. It was bull crap. It was bull crap.
Hey, so I feel it and I know it in your heart that the trauma you went as a kid by not having a relationship with your father, your mother dying at a very young age.
Yeah.
How was that for you when all that was going down?
Yeah, that was a tough time, but it was a tough time because like my mom got abandoned by her parents when she was 12. So another family raised her and they like mishandled her, and when she got old enough, she dipped out. So we didn't have no cousins or aunts or uncles or grandparents, no family. It was just me, my 3 brothers, and my sister.
And then the hood.
And then she got sick really young, so she passed away when I was really young, So who's left to lead? Who's left to pick up the job? Here's what happened, though. My 2 older brothers had the same father. My younger brother, my younger sister, they had their own father. So when my mom passed, father came and took them. Father came and took them. So I was by myself, and I didn't see my siblings for years.
Yeah.
So, dog, that's when I was alert, not conscious yet.
Yeah.
Alert, because you learn how to survive. Yeah. And in the midst of surviving, then you have to pick up these traits that help you survive, which are manipulation, hypocrisy, all that shit, bro. So you become tainted. Yeah. You become raw and uncut, because that's what's all around you. Yep. That's all you know. You got somebody that you think you're safe with teaching you how to unload in the daytime. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Here's the bayonet.
Yep.
Yeah, bayonet. Like, fucking, you know what I'm saying? Here's a bayonet. Here's a M1. Here's a musket. Yep. This is a 32 Beretta. This is a 357. This is a 38 mag. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to get stuck if you don't do this. Yep. Here's a revolver. Here's a clip to the revolver. So in case you run out, you know what I'm saying? So now you learn how to shoot guns. You learn how to sell drugs. You learn how to manipulate selling drugs. I would sell PCP. Yeah. I would get a Pepsi bottle full of PCP. So you buy the cool sticks, the cigarettes. Yeah. So I would cut the cigarette from the top to make it a little smaller, so you preserve your juice. Yeah. But at that time, dog, like, I literally had every neighborhood in San Diego coming and getting them for me.
Get that juice.
Getting that juice, bro. 20 pours, 50 pours. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I survived.
Yeah, living that street life.
Dog, that's how I survived. So I would stack up loot. Then I met somebody, Smiley, the one that named me Little One. Yeah. At that time, he was older, so he had a job. I'm like, hey, dog, I'll give you some money if you get me a place under your name. He's like, yeah. So I gave him some loot. Yeah. He went and got me a little studio. So I bought a little 78 Corolla bucket. Yeah. You don't have no fucking license. You know how to drive this shit. You fucking learn how to drive. So you have your little bucket, you have your weapon, you have your piece. Yep. And then you learn how to navigate them all to survive. But in the midst of doing that, I'm writing. Wow. I'm writing. That's why we have so much to say, especially on Once in a Decade. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's amazing, brother. So that now you've made it a negative and turned it into a straight positive with your children.
Of course. My oldest one had it the roughest because I was so young. Yeah. And it took time for me to evolve. And I went through a lot of darkness before I ever fucking saw any type of light. You know what I mean? So she got it the worst, but my other children, they didn't experience that. Yeah. I was an alcoholic when my first daughter was young, very toxic, a lot of trauma, a lot of ego, a lot of machismo. You have fame already. You have money. It comes easy, so you don't know how to value it. Yeah. You're not financially responsible. You're not emotionally responsible. You're psychologically fucked up because you play psychological trickery with yourself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Your homies ain't your homies. You're under the idea that you fuck around and look like Fabio when you don't. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So you have women, you have money, you have validation, you have praise, you got a nice place, you got a nice car. Who the fuck is gonna tell you anything? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna pick her up at 7? Like, no. I'm over here. Yeah. And you have to go through that though in order to appreciate the other side of it. Because remember, you're stuck in a bubble. You're stuck in a bubble. You're pigeonholing yourself to that life because you're under the assumption that life is gonna last forever, till you run out of money, till nobody buys your records, till you're overweight, till you don't have shit, till you get betrayed. You know what I mean? Till you end up in jail off that DUI, till you end up in jail for leaving that bar. You get in a fight, you hurt somebody. Now you got problems. Now you got a mountain of problems. Yeah. Along with this so-called superstar life. Now you got people, envying you. So there's people that love you, there's people that hate you. So now you got problems with the police. Now you got problems with the courts, problems with doing your classes, problems with this motherfucker's baby's, this bitch's baby's dad. Yeah. Problem with this dude from the other side that you had a problem with fucking when you used to beat him at marbles. And now you're famous and now he's still mad at you. You know what I'm saying?
Shit just got real.
So then, you're in survival mode at all times. So the only way to dissolve that is by being true to yourself and taking a step back, analyzing your whole situation, and making a decision, a conscious one, if that's the way you want to stay, or if you want to evolve.
When was that date for you?
It was when my brother died, when my oldest brother died.
Sorry to hear that.
You know, thank you. Me and my brother had a turbulent relationship when I was young. You know, we didn't really link up again until a couple years after my mom passed. But he went to the pen. He went and did 5 years. And he got out. He was a different dude. You know, he went through his dark. He had his own demons.
Yeah.
So he was trying to mend. By the time he was trying to mend with me, I was a walking nightmare.
Oh, shit.
I was him back then.
Back then, yeah.
And, you know, I had a lot of resentment towards him from the childhood. But I had my second daughter, okay, at that time, and she was a little baby. She didn't have nobody. Her mom ended up dipping out. So I had her. I had my daughter. She's 18 now. So that forces you. And it all happened in 2 stages. One, I used to drink Red Passion Alizé every day, dog. One day I'm hungover, dog. You remember when we used to bundle up our kids in the little cobijitas?
Right.
So my daughter's in bed. I get out the shower, dog, and she sees me, and she has this burst of joy. And I'm like, this is how she feels about me.
Yeah.
Just remember, she's a little baby. She doesn't know anything other that I am the person that takes care of her.
Yeah.
So I saw her with the burst of joy, and it did something to me. Like I have to get my shit together.
Yeah.
And you know, dog, from that day forward, you know, feeding her was different, changing her diaper was different, putting her to sleep was different. Plus, dog, God gives us a conscience.
Yeah.
All of us. When you're fucking up, you know you're fucking up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's when you do something about it. In the process of all that, me and my brother start mending. Okay? I'm trying to get out of the alcoholism at that point. I get in a fight with my daughter's mother because she wasn't around.
Yeah.
So I go to this place in Old Town San Diego to drink. My brother calls me. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna go drink.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, bro, I'm about to get my tonsils taken out. I'm not trying to drink. I'm like, well, I'll be there. So I show up and he's there. He drinks. He's drinking with me.
Yeah.
Diggy's there. Before you know it, there's 30 people there.
Shit.
You know?
Yep.
But me and my brother have a talk for the first time. Tells me about prison, a couple of things that happened to him when he was young.
Yeah.
I get a call to go to the studio. Long story short, he follows me to the studio. We get in an argument in the studio. He says, I'm going to leave. He gives me his hand, and I smack his hand away.
Yeah.
He gets in his car, he crashes, and he dies.
Wow.
20 minutes later.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was my fault
Yeah.
because he didn't want to drink, and he fell asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
So that did it. In between the burst of joy of my child, now here's a brand new life, and here's a life that just got taken.
Yeah.
So it was a paradox. It was an oxymoron for me. I had to get deeper into the darkness for me to be able to get out and stay out.
Yeah.
So I sobered up after that. And little by little, what I learned is that life tells you, show me,
Yeah.
and I'll show you.
Yeah.
Give to me, and I'll give to you. Because you can cheat on your spouse, you can cheat on your taxes, you can cheat on the DMV, you can cheat on the test, but you can never cheat your growth. It's impossible. You won't grow. You can't pretend to be growing because you won't grow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the more that I was authentically, sincerely putting into my growth, the more that my growth was given back to me. So when you get sprinkled with growth, it's beyond a monetary gain.
Yeah.
It's real wealth. It's the real bag because now you're not confined. You're not scattered. You're untethered and you're free. There's nothing better on this planet than being free. Because there's people that have millions of dollars that carry a lot of inner poverty. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So when I was able to experience what personal freedom was like, I dipped into it a lot more. That doesn't mean problems stopped.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
That doesn't mean turbulence didn't come. But it gives you an advantage to be able to deal with your problems a lot better. And that doesn't mean that the trauma was over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to heal. I'm still healing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's an eternal journey with no graduation date, and you're a student forever.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
so you know, when I dipped into that part of it, I started seeing things for what they were. And when you see things for what they are, it's nobody's fault but yours if you stay there.
Yes, sir, man.
Damn.
That's some deep
Well
shit,
said.
Little One, man. How long has it been since your brother has passed? If you don't mind me asking.
It's he died in 2004.
2004, man. Yeah, and it's something you can never get over. It's just you gotta,
Yeah, you know, I mean, in time, I was able to understand that those are the cards of life. You know, I had to forgive myself. I had to take ownership of what I was doing in my life, how I was moving in my life. And people always say, I need to move out of here so I can get out of this. No, you don't. You just need to move differently internally.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
That's all it is. Geographics don't matter, dog. You can jump on a vacation. You can get on the plane and go to the most beautiful ocean in the world and the biggest mansion in the world. But if you got that inner poverty, you're going to take that shit with you.
Yeah, you
You
sure
can meet
will.
somebody brand new. It'll be okay for a second, but that inner poverty will show up.
The inner poverty, man. I love that phrase, man.
You know, and I'm still on the journey, you know, but you learn how to become a better human, a better spirit. So then you're a better father, you're a better brother, you're a better friend, you're a better artist. You know, you're not consumed so much with what other people think, because we live in this world
Yeah.
of, you know, what is he going to think?
Yes, sir.
What is she going to say?
Did he give me a like?
Yeah, did it? Fuck. You know, like
Straight up.
you know, it took time to be able to eradicate egotistical living.
So did you lose friends when you stopped drinking? When you started going through your journey of changing to being a more positive person?
Well, I didn't lose anything, because somebody that doesn't support, that's not your friend.
Was never your friend.
That's right.
So you really don't lose. If you're confined in that contamination, then you think you lost.
Yeah.
You know, like, you don't lose anything, dog. Like, people that are not part of your purpose are not your friends.
Your friend, yeah.
But did you find people that you thought
Of
were your friends?
course, of course, you know, and like you said, like, what are you doing? Why are you reading? You know, I read the very first book that I read that really took me to another space is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And the Four Agreements only works if you practice those agreements. So it's never take anything personal. Always do your best. Don't make any assumptions, and be impeccable with your word. So if you follow that,
Yeah.
your life changes. Like, people don't understand, it's not the book, it's the sincerity between you and the teaching. If you implement the teaching, you can experience the teaching. So if you experience the teaching, then you experience freedom. You can read all you want,
Yeah.
but if you don't put implementation in your teachings, you're not going to experience it.
Sure.
So when I started, like, truly experiencing, because you got to ask yourself, dog, like, how are you going to lose if you invest in yourself?
That's right.
How?
You're-
You can't. You lose this chick, you lose that chick. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? We have particles of us that are unhealed, that hijack us and convince us that that's where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I always say this when I go speak at interviews or whatever, but it's true. The misconception of time. I'll tell you why. We talked about the present moment, right?
Yes.
Right now, we're in the present moment.
Yes.
We haven't thought about anything else other than right here in our conversation.
This is true.
Exactly.
We are experiencing the present moment right now.
Yes.
Right? So this is proof that we have the ability to be in the present moment, right?
Yes.
Okay, dog. There's only two types of time. There's chronological time, and then there's psychological time. So chronological time is minutes and hours, okay? Psychological time is moments and memories. So when you get consumed in psychological time, you're consumed in the past or in the future. And it robs you of the present moment. And only in the present moment can you experience bliss. So if you're stuck in the past, you can't experience bliss.
No.
If you're stuck in the future, you can't experience bliss. You're worried about some shit that hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah.
Or you're worried about something that already happened.
Yeah, you can't do nothing with
There's
it.
nothing you can do about either.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do something about is the present moment.
You're Mr. Little One, the guru.
No,
yeah.
I learned all of this
Uh-huh.
reading, but implementing the teachings. Something's off.
Thumbs off.
Yeah, I think so.
No, I
You
think.
want to double check?
No, you can hear it, right? Oh no, yeah, you're good. Though you're good.
Yeah.
So I was able to experience all this in the teaching. Something
We'll take a break right now, Chris. No, go ahead.
something as mild
Yeah.
as this. There's a book called The Motivation Manifesto by Brendan Burchard. And he says, dog, that we have two choices when we wake up. You could put a suntan on your spirit,
Yep.
or you could put a sunburn on your soul. You choose.
Oh man.
It's the truth.
So let's switch this up a little bit right now. I want to talk a little bit about two individuals. One being Eric Wright, Eazy-E,
Right.
and Mr. Night Owl.
Okay.
But before we do, we're gonna take a short break.
Okay.
You can hit this camera, Chris. I'll fix that one right now. I don't know what's going on. I think it was all. No, I actually been doing that kind of crazy stuff. Huh? Oh, right. All right. Well, we're gonna take a small break, guys. Tell me we're gonna take a break right now.
We're going to take a break.
There you go.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
All right. There you go. Let's first talk about Mr. Night Owl. Rest in peace. I know you said when you first met him. How much older than you was he?
Like 15 years.
Oh, that much
Yeah,
older.
like 15. Yeah, 15 years. About 15 years.
So Night Owl wasn't lying when he was saying he's the original Chicano rapper. Can I get that drink over there, Chris? Do you think or because
I don't know. You know, you know, Nada he was doing his thing since the very beginning.
right?
You know, Nada was doing music from the very beginning since he was very young.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
if he was that much older than you, I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and say he was. I mean, Night Owl right now would be right now. Night Owl from Harrison, I was the first fucking Chicano rapper.
Yeah, you know.
God bless him.
Yeah,
man.
Broski, yeah, you know. But again, you know, like I said, I don't look at age or time like that because of where I'm at in my life.
Yeah.
I really don't. You know, even when people tell me how long you've been sober, I'm like, who cares?
That's
Because I don't
right.
want to knock somebody else's, you know, journey that's
Yeah.
been in the journey for 6 months, and you know somebody else is gonna tell them you only been sober for 6 months. That time can be a poison to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the misconception of time. So I don't look. I always say we're all timeless spirits.
Yeah.
Like who gives a fuck? You know
That's
what I'm saying?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
So, what was your relationship with Night Owl when he passed away, and what was your relationship even before that throughout life with Night Owl?
well, you know that was broski. You know, and we had our ups and our downs through our relationship. You know, and you know, but at the end of the relationship, I mean, I would say 85% of our relationship was always good.
Yeah.
You know, but shit gets in the way, and you know,
Life gets in the way.
we had our differences, but you know, we mended, and we were in a good place at the end of his life.
Yeah.
You know, we spent time together, me, him, and Shadow and Diggy. You know, we were barbecuing at his house before he went to the hospital. I went to the hospital, hung out with him. I was at the hospital with him when he got his leg amputated. Me and Shadow were there with him. You know, we stayed in contact, and then he got sick, and you know, he didn't make it out.
Yeah.
Fortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did he get upset at you guys when you guys collaborated? It was you, Shadow, and Misfit. What was the name of the group when you guys?
Oh, the Untouchables.
The Untouchables. Because I remember he got really
And
upset.
Conejo.
And Conejo, that's right.
Yeah.
Did he get upset at you guys also? Because all that beef stuff was squashed on 28, which was a great thing. But did he get upset at you guys for doing that?
I personally didn't get nothing from him, but I think he was mad at the name or something because he had released the album, The Untouchable. But that was Night Owl. Night Owl was mad at everybody. You know, at some point, if you came across Night Owl and you were in his life, there had to be one time you guys had beef.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I got the pleasure of speaking with Knight on the phone, for about a good 45 minutes to an hour, man. We chopped it up real good. And he was a cool cat, man. When you turn the cameras off, when the heat of the moment is over, he'll sit there and have a great conversation.
Yeah,
with you.
Nado's got a great heart. He had a huge heart.
Yeah.
You know, Nado's a really, really good guy. You know, but again, we get consumed in our shit. We get consumed in life and the politics of the music and this album and this artist and this feature and this beat and this producer and this distributor and how many sales and, you know, money and shit like that, you know. But Nado's he's a good man. He was a good man. He did a lot for me in my life. He made me a lot of money. He opened a lot of doors for me. That's right. You know, he did a lot of good shit for a lot of people, not just me.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, he put me on, he put Shadow on, he put a lot of people on. You know, and he was still trying to do that at the end of his life. He was trying to build the bridge between the artists in Mexico and the artists in the States.
Yeah.
That was what he was working on. You know, he started his company, like I say, Locos or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's what he was doing. But, you know, don't get it twisted. Like, he was a good businessman. You know, he made a lot of good shit happen.
Yeah.
He did a lot of. There was a lot of times in my life that he changed the dynamic of my life by participating in it and helping me. You know, especially when I was so irresponsible with my shit.
Yeah.
You know, he came and got me out of it. You know, and same with Royal. You know, Royal too. You know, Royal did a lot of good shit for a lot of artists, a lot of times, including me. You know what I'm saying? And that's just keeping it real. You know.
Now, Royalty, is he also from SD?
Yeah, he's from San Diego.
Okay, shout out to Royalty.
Shout out to my dog, Royalty.
Yeah, I don't
and
remember.
tomorrow's Nado's birthday.
Oh, man. Oh,
happy
yes.
birthday.
So me, Shadow, Royal, we're all gonna get together and a couple other people.
That's
and,
right.
You know, and we're gonna have some food and
right.
you know, celebrate.
Make sure to sit like 3 seats away from Royal because he's gonna scream in.
Watch your ears.
You better give me a fucking shout out on that fucking. God bless him, homie. God bless you guys. You guys from San Diego, all right, homie. You guys are all right.
Yeah. You know, I mean, hey, you know, again, when the shit is fun, the way that it's supposed to be in your music, you know, like let's be honest, a lot of the artists lose who they are when they get caught up in the other stuff and their music doesn't sound the same. You know what I'm saying? Like if you remember like when you're doing it for the passion, even like ball players, even like, you know, soccer players, baseball players, football players, once they start getting in trouble because of the money and the fame and they got accused of this, like dog, it fucks up their game.
Yeah.
Same with as an artist. When you get caught up in shit, now you got this problem here and this problem there. You know, you take that shit to the studio. Like, yeah, it can work for you and you can use that for you. But some people don't know how to turn their pain into purpose.
Yeah.
You know what else I've seen a lot with rap artists, especially right now. The latest news is that rapper Young Thug. He caught a RICO act.
Yeah.
28 of him and 28 of his people got arrested, and I'm sure a good chunk of them are gonna flip.
Of course.
Right? That's how the game works. And
no, for sure. They're going to flip.
I say 1 in 5 in the room is going to snitch on you, so you better watch out.
Absolutely.
And people say, you're not. You better.
Absolutely.
There's 2 kind of people in the feds: those who snitch and those who wish they snitched. Those are the 2 kind of people. Yeah. But how hard is it for especially like rappers who, you know, rap about the streets, like gangster rap and all that, to walk that fine line? Because from what I'm seeing from a lot of these young men, they've got the money already. Yeah. They've got the means to get out of that mentality that you're saying.
No. They have the means, but they stay alert. They don't evolve to consciousness.
That's the problem.
Okay. Same thing with peace. All right. We'll get back to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me just say something real quick that's really important.
Absolutely.
And it sounds complex, but it's simple. People get in a parasitical state. They got some kind of problems. The first thing they do is what? They run to try to find religion, or they try to run into a spiritual path, right?
Yes.
To attain what? Peace, right? That's a huge misconception because the peace is already inside. You have to activate it. Actually, peace is a basic requirement to have a well-guided life, right? Even if you don't have peace, you can't even enjoy a meal.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, let's say this. How many times do you hear people say, at the end of my life, all that I want is peace? Well, that means that you're gonna rest in that peace and not live in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, there's a lot of people, bro, that die in their 20s and their 30s and don't get buried till they're 70 years old. So that whole time in between, it decomposes because of that. Let's say Young Thug goes to jail for 40, 50 years. Where's all that money? Where's all those women?
Yep.
Where's all that praise? Where's all those likes? Where's all those comments? People forget about him in 6 months, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yes. It's all memory, homeboy.
People forget about him, bro. People try to get at his baby's mom. People try to get at his wife. People see his mom struggling and walk right by her.
Yep.
That's the reality of it. So this is where you have to decide. Like, okay, cool. You know, I can still be me. I can still go live my life and do my thing and feed my purpose. Or I could be pushing a cart and keep it real.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's keeping it real?
That's when keeping it real goes wrong.
That's when keeping it real goes wrong.
Man.
You know, it's like they say, real recognize real. Now, my homie says, heal recognize healed.
I say real recognize fake and
Yeah. Hey, quick.
There's too, and that's the problem that we still have in a lot of the inner cities, man. We got a bunch of young men still going down that route. The good thing is that we're kind of changing that narrative where we're not doing that same old shit. You don't have as many 30-year-old homies showing that 15-year-old kid you were how to throw that strap.
You know, I saw that dude. I saw that dude later in my life. You know, when I was a father already, and he was, you know, he was
Same thing.
junkied out.
Yeah.
And I was pushing gas, and I said, "Hey, come over here, bro." He's like, "Oh, what's up, little one?" I'm like, "Hey, motherfucker, remember?"
Uh-huh.
I'm like, "Now I'm 30.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?" You know?
Yeah.
And I felt that I needed to say that. Because, you know, sometimes when you say something that they don't expect you to say that's real.
Yeah.
See, dog, you got to remember, people can deny it all they want, but when you tell somebody the truth,
Yeah.
whether they fucking pretend or not, that shit stays with you.
Yeah.
Just like when you give somebody some purity. Don't matter how many years go by. If you give somebody some purity, it'll stay with them forever, bro.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So back to Mr. Thug, man. What do you
This went out.
maybe it's the where you're connected over there. A little bit better, a little bit better.
I don't hear anything.
We're good, homeboy.
But okay, as long as we're good,
Yeah,
we're
we-
good.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we hear you, huh?
Okay, bet. All right, bet.
Yeah, you're. So as far as if you want, you can take that.
It's good. It's good now.
Huh? You good? Yeah, it's probably one of the connections, man. If not, I need like $10 to buy a new.
I love this guy.
Yeah.
But you know why, dog? Because he is who he is.
That's right.
He doesn't give a fuck what anybody thinks.
Yeah, I don't.
We're gonna start a brand with a shirt that says "Who cares?" Bro. Hey, did you hear this?
Yeah,
who
who
cares?
cares?
We'll do a collab, American
Yeah,
Troll.
who cares?
Yeah, you know what? I'm the same guy when the camera goes off.
Yep.
I'm the same guy when you walk into the
Exactly.
house. I'm the same guy at the construction site. So,
Yep.
but that's the way we're supposed to be. But unfortunately, a lot of people, you know, the problem with that is you got to keep that persona going. You got to keep that act going.
Yeah, the mask.
The mask,
Yep.
homeboy.
You know,
Yep.
at some point in our life, we all had a mask when we were growing up.
Yep.
You gotta learn how to take it off and be okay with being you.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, people are gonna like you for the mask.
Yeah. And then when they find out who
Perfect.
you are,
When you want to take it off, they don't like you.
yeah, yeah.
So let's put it this way. You got Mr. Little One right now. If you can speak to yourself as a young man when you were going through all that madness in your life, let's say the peak of the madness, what would you say? Is there anything you would say to that young man?
I would say to myself exactly what my mother would tell me. You know, these are not your friends.
Yep.
You know, you need to wake up, focus on school, get your education. Your education will never abandon you. You'll be able to get a job and go wherever you want to go. You know, she bought me my first tape recorder with a mic where you could record. It had a double cassette. So you could play the instrumental on one and you could record on the other.
Yeah.
So she got to see a little bit of that, you know.
That's right.
But I mean, and that is true, dog. You know, it's like my broski right here. He does his thing. Look at his home.
yeah.
Look at his family. Look at the ambiance here. Look at the environment, bro. Like,
Thank you, brother.
this
All
is good
positive.
stuff here. It's
Yeah.
this is who he is.
Yep.
This is a representation of where he is in his life. You're not pulling up to some bullshit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're pulling up. How do we all perform our best in life when we're safe, bro?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying, dog? And you know, when you're good privately, it always shows publicly, bro, without you having to say anything.
That's right, boy. So now let's go into when you dealt with Eazy-E, you dealt even with Jerry Heller. It sounds kind of funny saying that, but you actually did. So where did all that come about in your life?
So during those drunken times, You know,
Sounds like a start to a fucking joke.
it's real shit. During those drunken times when we had that Hollow Point project, me and Night Out,
Okay.
the Bone Thugs and Harmony album came out.
Yeah.
And it had a number in the back.
Okay.
So during one of those drunk times, I'm calling the number.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, thank you for calling Ruthless Records. Go ahead and leave a message. And I'm like, hey, my name is Lil One. Here's my shit. So I'm leaving the songs on the machine.
Yeah.
And like my number 619-382-2027. Hit me back.
Yeah.
I left like 30 of those messages.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next fucking morning, the house phone is ringing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Like, hello. Like, hey, this is Jerry Heller over here at Ruthless. Like, huh? He's like, the little guy, referring to Eazy-E,
Yeah. Yeah.
just left. He wants you to come up here.
Mm-hmm.
You got a pen? So he had an office here in Canoga Park.
Okay.
So he gives the address
Yeah.
to Ruthless Records.
Okay.
So I call Night Out and I'm like, hey, fucking Jerry Heller just called.
Yeah. He's probably like, he lied.
So you know, me, my brother Oscar, fucking
The whole
Night
crew.
Out, and
The
fucking
whole
DJ
fucking
Mikeski. Shout out to DJ Mikeski.
Yeah. Yeah.
We fucking jump in my brother's Blazer with the fucking, what was the map? What was the
Thomas guy.
The Thomas guy.
Yeah.
We jump in the fucking
Yeah.
with the Thomas guy,
Yeah.
and we fucking head to Canoga Park.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we walk in, and who's there?
Easy.
Eazy-E, bro.
E.
Eazy-E's there, bro.
How short is that guy?
He was the little guy, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's there, dog, and
Yeah.
so we play him the songs.
Okay.
We played him a couple of the songs, and he's like, okay, I like the music. He's like, I'm gonna send you to Mark Palladino, the Edge recording studio, and you're gonna recut these songs. He's like, Jerry, get their information and write up some contracts. So he gets our name, our social, all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And then he sends me and Night Owl to the Edge recording studio. We go to the Edge recording studio to meet him. Fucking Above the Law's there. MC Ren is there. Cocaine is there.
Yeah.
And we meet Mark Palladino. So he gives us a date to go back. We bring the 2-inch, you know.
Yeah.
And so we're re-recording the songs. And he comes by and visits us. He goes to San Diego to take Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yeah.
We hang out with him. And he fucking dies during that process. Yeah, and that's how that went down.
And that was pretty much the end.
of it?
Jerry Heller, you know, sold the stories, you know.
Yeah.
I'm getting $10 million from Warner Brothers. You're going to be my first act. You know, by that time, Once in a Decade came out. I went back into the Ruthless offices and I played Once in a Decade for them. And they didn't know what to do with that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, dog, I mean, you know, just experiencing
Just
him.
meet him too. Yeah.
That shit was dope, you know. That shit was dope.
So Jerry Heller was a dirtbag?
He was a dirtbag for sure.
so
Yeah, he was a dirtbag for sure. He was a
So did you actually sign these contracts? Or
Nah,
or
we
you
didn't
get to
sign
them?
anything.
Nothing?
We didn't sign anything, but we were recording for.
Yeah.
I remember, we don't give a fuck at that time.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
just-
yeah.
You know, I think he sent a check for like $4,000 for like travel and gas.
Okay,
and
so he was at least.
yeah, you know, so he did that, and you know, he's like, you know, what do you need to get this done? And all right, so he sent a check, and it had the Ruthless.
No, so he was serious about it.
Oh no, yeah, he sent us money, and you know, we rented a car and we went, and he brought us food and all of that, and actually, a week before he died, Jerry Heller was in San Diego, and he called me and Night Owl. He said, "Come by the Hyatt. I want to talk to you guys."
Yeah.
And he told us, Eric is very sick. He's not gonna make it,
Yeah. Wow.
and it's gonna be announced to the world.
Yeah.
You know, I want to take you guys. And we're like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and a week later, it's all over the radio that he died.
Wow.
That shit was crazy. So he dragged us on. He he would take us to dinner and buy a steak, and I'm about to get my check, and I'm gonna give you guys $100,000 each. And
he was.
It was working.
Yeah,
Promises, promesas y promesas.
Yeah, but we were still doing our shit,
Right.
And I would mail him the albums, and he'd call me like with the shit in the background, like, "Yo, this is amazing." I remember I met Johnny J there. I met Fred Wreck there.
Yeah.
Fred Wreck was like, "This is you." Like for once in a decade, he's like, "I'm leaving." He left for a couple of years back to his country and all that. But even when I ran into him years ago, he's like, "Oh, like he remembered." Like it was really close.
Yeah.
For everything to change and to have the albums that did really well.
Yeah.
To be under that platform.
Well, it seems to me, after hearing so many different stories of the Eazy-E and Jerry Heller and all those times, it seems that Eazy-E, Ruthless Records, was going to take the Chicano rap thing to a whole...
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. You got millions of dollars behind it, but more than the millions of dollars, you had somebody that believed in it.
Yeah.
Eazy-E believed in the Chicano rap game.
Yeah.
He believed in the culture. He was with the business.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is.
He sure did.
He was about that. I mean, even then, I think he had Frost.
Yeah.
And he had Brownside.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He had Toker and them. Yeah, for sure.
And, so he was doing it with them already. But he was tapping into the San Diego hotbed of talent. You know what I mean? And Rob was there. Like, it would have trickled down to all of us.
For sure.
Shadow would have went in. Rob would have went in. And, it would have been like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he passed away.
So now let's start talking about what you're doing now, man. What is it? Telescope Room?
Yeah.
Podcast?
Yeah.
I love it. I love the stuff. Well, I actually enjoy more the stuff you do on your own, believe it or not, when you give your spills about, just the energy you put out on that. When you give the advice, energy, and all that stuff, how did that come about?
Well, again, I didn't want to step into that platform.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do anything like that until I already had years of working on myself. Otherwise, I was still going to have some bullshit attachment to some shit that I had done in the past. So I had to work on myself first before I did that. So if somebody was like, that motherfucker was an alcoholic, I would be like, so what? That was a long time ago. Or that motherfucker this, so what? Like I grew.
Always got to bring up the past.
Yeah, and it was good to be able to, because I have relationships with all the artists.
Yeah.
To bring the artists to the show and excavate with them and show a different side of them that had nothing to do with their music. So when I would bring some of the artists, like I'm excited now because next week I'm interviewing like the #1 psychologist in San Diego, and I'm gonna actually interview Don Miguel Ruiz's son, Don Jose Ruiz, on the Telescope Room.
That's what's up.
So I'm excited about all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but it came about that way. I just figured I wanted to do a platform that was gonna be about growth, and I could interview other artists and bait them in through the artistry, and when we get to talking, it turns out being a completely different conversation.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
So I added a different part to the podcast called Conversations, and it's segment. There's 4 segments, and it's what we're doing right here.
Yes, sir.
We're just shooting this shit, talking about life.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, a lot of people get scared to come on this platform because, and I don't. Like right now, we're doing a podcast with you. I talk a lot of politics, right? And a lot of people think they shy away from that stuff. How do you feel about stuff like that?
I mean, I think it's important. Like, look, in every aspect of life, you have to have some knowledge.
Yes, sir.
No matter what it is, even if it's mild.
Yeah.
But just like we know the ABCs of this, we need to know the ABCs of that. So, I think it's important. Like I listen to him, and he knows what he's talking about.
Does a lot of homework.
Yeah, but he does the diligence.
He does.
So if someone steps up and says something,
he knows how to fire back.
Hey, like, look, hey, bro, effortlessly.
Yeah, exactly.
Effortlessly.
Exactly.
It's not like he's fucking reading notes throughout the day. Like what?
It's
It's effortlessly. Kind of like music. You gain experience over the years. So when an artist comes to the studio and he sees you work, he's like, how the fuck did you do that in 20 minutes? It's experience, dog. When you're a true artist, you have melodies in your head. Like I go to the studio and it's like, okay, I need this bass line. Boom, 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 boom. All right, what kind of drum beat? Boom, 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 boom. All right, now I need a worm. Now I need some choir. Now I need a dark piano. Boom, beat's done. How the fuck? All right, but you have so much information, so much data.
Yeah.
And you're able to tell a story in a second. Now you can get creative. So the music has no color, it has no age, it has no expiration date.
Yeah.
If you're good at what you do,
It's gonna
it's gonna sound like it.
Yep.
You know, like when I did It's Okay, the video we were just playing.
Banging.
Like I damn near directed that video because it's all in the head. You know, it's all in your head, dog. And again, when you engage with your art,
Yeah.
it shows. I've never tried to sound like nobody. I've never tried to rap like nobody. I've never tried to do nothing. Granted, I've gotten inspiration from other artists,
Yeah.
but I've always made my sound my own.
Yeah.
And that's always been important
right.
to me. You know?
Yeah.
Now I got a nice hard question for you.
Okay.
So how did you feel about norteño artists as far as rappers back then? How do you feel about them now?
I don't think anything about that, to be honest.
You had to think about that before.
Before, when we were younger, because the climate was different. You're in that, you know, like I don't pay any attention to shit that doesn't have anything to do with my immediate life. Now, granted, I respect the culture and I respect all of that. But again, if you really look at the foundation of most of that, it's opinionated bullshit. It's opinionated bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't fuck with you. I don't fuck with you. You're over there. I'm over here. I have no business excavating in what you're doing.
Yeah.
I excavate in what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the rules are the rules. Some of them are unspoken and we all follow them.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You know, I don't feel that I need to sit here and be open about how disrespectful I would be to a certain person if something happened. You know what I mean? Like, I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel I need to. Like I always say this: if you're a threat to me, then you're a threat to my children.
Okay.
So, do I really want to fight you, or do I want to just eradicate you completely?
Yeah, you just eradicate them.
Why would I even leave a space open for you to come back
exactly
and do something? So that's in the vicinity of how I see things.
Yeah.
No matter who it is, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you ever see any in the future? Think anybody from down south will, like, say in the next 5 years, do an actual rap video with anybody from up north?
I don't think so.
You think that's always gonna be separated?
Yeah, I mean, you know, dog. I mean, the rules are the rules. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, but like musically, me, like, I don't pay attention to
anything but
what they do. Like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from over here.
Yeah.
And this is what I dwell in. This is my galaxy. I don't really dwell with, you know.
Do you have any other rap music coming out in the future?
My album just dropped. I just dropped my album, but I did it completely different, which this is probably something we might want to talk about with other artists.
Yeah.
Now, hear this.
Yeah, for sure.
Broski. Getting your new CD or your new project and putting it out is no different than you filling up this glass of water and dumping it in the ocean and thinking you're making a difference. That's the digital platforms for you.
Yeah.
All right? Because everybody's doing what you're doing.
Yes.
Unless you have this dynamic, magnetic, powerful, colossal platform, you're no different than the next motherfucker doing what you're doing. All right? Even if you have people that follow you, cool. So what I did with this project, I already gave enough music out. I have thousands of songs on Spotify. I have millions of streams. I have hundreds and thousands of followers, and you can go check.
Yeah.
You can reach out to whoever your music guy is, and you can go ask him to pull up Mr. Little One streams, and he'll tell you exactly what I'm telling. And frankly, I don't give a fuck. But anyway, the reason I'm saying that is this project, I said, you know what? This record, I'm going to honor the art. I didn't release it through any digital platform. If you want the album, you get it through me, and it's $100.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm going to show you the numbers right now so you can see I'm not lying.
Yeah, for sure.
So I look at it like this. Whoever fucks with me and whoever's a fan is going to buy that album.
Yeah.
And guess what? They do.
Yep,
That's
right.
right, oh boy. That's right.
Why would I give it away? Why would I go grab my brand new project that I spent a lot of time creating and putting together like a masterpiece to mean nothing when it comes out after a week?
Yeah.
Because someone else put out another album. So I keep the equity, I keep the value, I keep the ownership, and if you want to buy it, you get it through me. If you don't, I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't.
Don't get it.
I don't care.
Exactly.
Give me that phone so I can show him.
Hey,
You know what? My
That's
phone.
all right, Chris. But we're in 3D mode right now.
There you go.
You know, I just want to make
Going
sure,
on. Yeah.
you know, if you ask any artist right now that's out, all right, to be honest with you
Yeah.
about how much money he's making through his digital platforms, it's hundreds of dollars every 3 months.
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's not thousands of dollars. I promise you that. Okay?
Yeah.
Not because they're not good, but because there's so much music.
Yes.
Yeah.
If everyone's selling tamales on this block, bro,
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
how do you win?
Everybody's selling that same dope.
Yeah.
Everybody.
How? It's like I got to do something different, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I got to do something different because there's too much music. The game is congested with music.
Yeah.
Now, if you have your following, bro, why would it? Okay, people want to be millionaires, right? If you get 1,000 people to spend $100 on you, how much money is that?
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I believe that there's 1,000 people that believe in me?
I
Absolutely.
think so, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you get 100 people to spend $100 on you, you just made $10,000. All my shows that I do are intimate, small capacity shows in small markets. They all buy $100 tickets, at least 100 of them.
Yeah.
There you go.
You don't need to sell out arenas. You don't need to sell out theaters. You need to engage with the people that actually fuck with you. Not the people that put likes on your page, because that's free.
Yeah.
Not the people that stroke your ego on your comments, because that's free.
Yeah.
Yes,
Ask
sir.
them to spend $100 on you.
Yes, sir.
And then you can decide if they're your fans or not.
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
I'm about to show you so you can see what I'm talking about.
Show me the money. Show me the money. Oh, boy.
Now this album came out
All right, let me get my glasses.
March 6th. Okay? It's called Decade 2.0.
Decade 2.0. Now, this is your last piece of work I've heard, man.
I'm gonna send you the link so you can download it on your phone so you can see. You don't have to say it out loud.
Oh, yeah, they're buying it, boy.
Okay?
Yeah, they're buying it.
That's how much money I've made. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Doc. Now, I would have never made that money on my social platform.
No.
Right?
You
And
make
in
it a
2
few
months,
$100.
and in 2 months,
Yeah.
it goes. And in 2 months after that, it goes. Because I value what the fuck I do.
That's right, boy.
You keep your ownership, you keep your value, you keep your equity, and it's under your control. And if you really honor what you do, who gives a fuck who doesn't buy it? They're not your supporters anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
So engage with fans that spend money on you. You give them art, you give them quality music, they're always going to buy your shit.
Yeah.
Fuck likes, fuck comments, and fuck all that because it doesn't mean shit.
Man, drop the bomb on them, Chris. Drop the bomb on them.
It's the truth.
Man, it is. It is.
That's external bullshit. This is internal reality. I've paid bills with this money. I vape with this money. I bought my children clothes with this money.
That's
That's
right.
right. Oh,
I went on a trip with this money.
So
And
before
it came from
before we
real
start
sales.
before we start wrapping this thing up, what's up with that guy, man?
So Diggy the Great, young Diggy. When my album, The 13 Scorn,
Right.
was coming out, I was walking down the street with my firstborn, and he drives by, a little youngster, blued out.
Yeah.
He says, "Hey man, are you Little One?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yo, I spit." I'm like, "Well, let me see."
Yeah.
He says, "No problem." And he starts giving me bars.
Oh, okay.
He starts giving me major bars.
Yeah.
So I tell him, "Hey, look, when I work on my next album, I'm gonna bring you on the album."
Okay.
Right? So when I did my next album, he got on the song "Dead," and we became brothers ever since. This is 1998.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
You know, and then I saw him be a father for the first time. He
Yeah.
saw my other kids be born. He saw my brother go. I saw his mother go, you know, and so on and so on and so on. You know, he had a battle with alcoholism. With alcohol, I had a battle with alcohol. Yeah. We went through that together. You know, he got diabetes. He got his leg amputated. Mm-hmm. You know, he had his own internal demons, but he never gave up. Right. He kept going. Yeah. One of the purest souls on the planet is that man right there, Young Diggy the Great. That's right. Salute to Young Diggy the Great forever, bro. Sure. And he's one of the dopest artists too. I'm gonna give you some links.
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta hear him.
Get out of here, man.
Come on, YD. Absolutely.
All right, brother. So let's start wrapping this thing up, man. Let's let people know where they can find you, Little One. What's going on with you? If you're gonna do any shows, about your podcast, everything. Homie, let them know.
So, the music is at MrLittleOne.com. My clothing line is at MrLittleOne.com. The tickets to the shows are at MrLittleOne.com. If you want to go to the podcast, all you got to do is go to YouTube and put in the Telescope Room, Mr. Little One, and it all comes up. There's interviews there with Conejo, with my boy Lottie, with Doughboy, with a lot of different artists and a lot of Flossie, Young Diggy, Shadow, you know. Yeah. And you see another side to it. But, you know, if you want to engage in the music, go to MrLittleOne.com. That's where you can get the new album. If you want it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too.
That's right. Hit that intro music, Chris.
Bamba!
Hey, homie. Thank you so much for blessing our platform.
No, man, thank you for having me.
It was worth the wait, Little One. I just want to tell you thank you. Thanks to your homie over there.
Respect to you guys. Respect to you. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You got to have me back again. And I want to invite you to the Telescope Room.
Whenever you want, homie.
Okay, you said that.
Just let me know.
You said that.
I'm going to cancel on him twice.
All right, so let's book it for today and tomorrow. So we can do it next week.
I'm going to cancel him twice, and I'm going to come 2 hours late on the third one. Just to do that.
Hey, Little One, there's traffic. But you owe me that. We'll go that.
I got you, homie.
All right, let's go.
That's a given, homie. That's a given.
Appreciate you. Thank you, brother. I'm a big fan of what you're doing. Respect to you. I had a blast here, broski.
Man, thank you. This is what it is, people. Hey, you guys, go check out Mr. Little One. Get his numbers up on his podcast, man. This guy has some great knowledge, great energy. Thank you guys for tapping in. Let's get the hell out of here, Chris.
Let's go.
Have a good night, everyone.
That's what I'm talking about, homeboy.
Hey, bro. Thank you for having me.